some extent. And he's the only one. I remember the only thing I don't forget that he gave me bulala when I was in primary school. So anytime I meet him, I just say, look, don't forget. You gave me kuboko for nothing I did not do. But it's somebody you really can trust. It's somebody you can trust.
What's the fondest memory you have of him?
Maybe the kuboko he gave me.
Fondest memory?
Yes, it's fun too. The truth is, the fondest memory that he did justice to drug issues in this country. I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of him. Yes, we had our own misunderstanding here and there, but I think he made the family name justice. We are all proud of him.
Now, let's go into your sojourn, your time in prison. What was your take home from that experience? I mean, 8 years is no joke. Even one day in prison, I can't even imagine it.
Well, the truth is this. Let me tell you, it is what people call a bitter experience. Because if I had not gone there, if I had not gone to prison, how I sure I would be alive with the way that people were pursuing me. So I think God took me there to save my life. And honestly, I don't have regrets going to prison because it also changed my life.
How?
Now, I was chief of army staff right there. Then I was brought down, straight down to the lowest level, because prison is a leveler.
So in that time while you were there changes in your life, in your philosophy, your thinking, your perception, and your expression at that time?
You see, it made me realize that human beings could be evil-minded. Because life in prison is so bad that even some people come in there innocent. Some of them learn robbery in prison because there's nothing to do. I had one particular boy, I got close to him. It was armed robbery. And I was discussing with him. He said, sir, I'm going to leave this prison in the next 2 weeks. I thought he was joking. And in 2 weeks, he was gone. And before he left, he came to me and I said, you will not, don't go. And they say, no. Say, sir, I cannot stop it. I'm used to it. And truly, after 3 months, he was brought back to prison. And he said, I shouldn't worry. He's going to be here for another 6 months and he'll be out. And in 6 months he was out. That shows you there's something wrong in our maybe judicial system, police investigation and the rest of it. And he confessed, he said, sir, we have our gang. Say anytime something happens, they collect money and they go out and we get bail. And I believed him because I've seen
that happened.
Very clear what has happened.
So, but do you think the reforms that's taking place in, the prison reforms has addressed this?
Well, I hope so. The problem is this. Unless we reform ourselves, including prison officers, all the reforms we are making will be a failure. Because I confessed to you, when I was in prison, there was nothing I wanted in prison that I did not get. We are bringing it. The same prison officers.
Moving on now, let's talk about your book. You launched a book a while ago. What inspired you to take the pen, and scribble your thoughts on paper?
Well, one, I wanted people to know that there can be injustice. And there's injustice in this country. And your friend today can turn to your enemy tomorrow. And I come to let people understand that if you stand by the truth in this country, you must be prepared to pay the price. That's the price I paid. So that when such things happen, one should not bother himself. It's not the first, it won't be the last.
What other things do you do lately?
Reading. I did, and in fact, I've started my second book to follow up with this, because I think there are so many things I need to bring out.
Are you still vindicating the general? Or?
The general has been vindicated.
Okay.
So I look for another title now. I've been vindicated.
Okay.
So the vindication is over. I now want to go back and see things I left out that can assist not only the military, young people. My focus is a man should know that whatever happens to him does not end, life does not end there.
My relationship with General Ishai Bamayi really started as the result of my relationship with his younger brother, late Senator Daladi Bamayi. He was very, very close to me. That was how I met General Bamayi. And, I found myself in government where he was the chief of army staff. So that brought us much, much closer. I have never seen a military general with followership like him. All the generals believed in him. Even after the death of General Sani Abacha, may his soul be rest in perfect peace, all the generals rallied around him. All of them, probably except one GOC. It's one human being that has not been properly understood. He was very passionate about the military. He could do anything to protect the Nigerian military. And, he's a no-nonsense general. He's somebody that believes in loyalty. You cannot give him 99% and retain 1 for another person. General Bamayi will not take it. It's the country to receive medical attention. I think he traveled to Dubai. It was an opportunity for him to leave the prison and also fly out of the country. While he was in prison, while he was in the hospital there, after he recovered, to a large extent, some of his friends contacted me that, look, tell General Bamayi not to come back to Nigeria, that he had the opportunity to leave the country. He shouldn't come back and face trial again. It's an opportunity for him to remain outside the country until when the administration of Obasanjo was over. And I contacted him. He just laughed and said to me, Honorable, General doesn't run. My boys are in Kirikiri. I will not leave them. That was what he told me. 2 days after, he now called me with his Nigerian line. I asked him, why was he calling? He said, well, if there is any, he has only one constituency, and that is the military. That if it means sacrificing his life, he will do it rather than to shame the military. For him to run away, he would rather, lose his life. So that was why he came back. And as God will have it, about 2 years after, he was discharged and acquitted by a competent court in Nigeria. There is politics everywhere, including the military. In fact, that of the military is even deadlier than that of the civil. Because the first to pull the trigger is always the winner. He's a grassroots man. He's always there with his people. He's also a big time farmer. He does farming, the local days, the subsistence farming. And whatever he produces, he gives it away also. He's a very charitable person.
We are childhood friends. In fact, we started a long time ago from childhood. We started school together. Our friendship did not stop alone, in the schools and so on. We married from the same house. the same, my wife is the immediate junior sister to his wife of the same parents. And since then we've been, think sometimes together, sometimes maybe work separates us and so on. So everything about Isha is only how he does with his wife that I do not know, or that he may not tell me. Me and Isha were going to join the army when we invited Musa, just like how we invited him to the college. There was a time even they caused one commotion that almost they would have killed themselves if we had followed this. People will tell Musa this and come back and tell Isha this, when it is not true. Certain times when Musa says he was told Isha had done this and that, I'll be the one to say, look, forget about this, it's a lie. Isha is free-minded. Incidentally, again, in the family, he was more loved than all others because he has a very humble heart, so free and helpful.
You've talked about something that we didn't know about your brother. You've talked about something we didn't know about General Abacha. Now, let's zoom the lens on you now. You tell us something we didn't know about you. Shock us.
Well, about me, I think all I will say is I'm a person who does not care about what anybody says about me. Sometimes maybe I'm selfish, because once I'm convinced that something is right, I do it. I am governed and controlled by my conscience. So my life now is just to assist my church and assist children I know they have difficulty educating themselves. That's what I'm looking for.
You have walked through life. I mean, you've seen the good, the bad, and the very ugly.
Yes.
What would you be telling people out there? What saw you through all of this, apart from your convictions and, your father's words?
You see, hard work and this matter of conscience I've told you, I have never sat down to bother myself about what anybody does to me. Otherwise, I would have had so many enemies. If I tell you I don't have enemies, you don't believe me. But I say I don't have enemies because I don't think of vengeance on anybody. Whatever you do to me, I will say, well, God will see me through. And that has been what has been helping me.
If Providence gives you another opportunity to go back in time to make some amendments and make some corrections or make adjustments to life, is there anything you would have done differently?
The truth is this, I have never had regrets in my life. So as far as I'm concerned, if God gives me another chance, I'm following the same
route. You still become a teacher for 3 months, go away without notice.
Let me get on my own. Maybe I go on my own. Honestly, I've never had cause to regret anything in my life. And I think that is why God has been so wonderful, very merciful to me. I've gone through so many things that ordinarily.
And you keep dodging the bullets.
Well, it's not the bullets now. You see, for example, I had an accident and I was 8 days unconscious. I survived that. I had an air crash when I was chief of army staff. I survived it. As you see me here, I had cancer of the colon. I was operated upon for 5 hours, and I'm now free of it. I suffered coronavirus. I was at hospital for 2 weeks. Even governors gave up that I would not survive. So you can see that as far as I'm concerned, I'm a special child of God. I know I lost all my hospital to COVID-19. So I look at myself, what else do I want from? God has done everything for me. The only thing I've not seen actually that I'm going to die, but the good, bad, and all as you said, I've seen it all. So you can see that my gratitude to God is unlimited.
They say generals don't cry. Generals, they mask their emotions. Has there been any time where you had to unmask your emotions in life?
Yes, I think I had. And that was when I was in prison. And I lost my immediate junior brother, Petrus. And what made me cry is that he was asking everybody, am I my emotions now? Where I was. And when I knew I was not going to sin again, and nobody could answer that question. He knew I was in prison. So that relationship, for him to be thinking about on his deathbed, blood touch, and I think I cried. That's something. It's something that I will not forget. That was the only time I think I cried.
And if you have to say something to him, now what would you be telling him?
Nothing, just rest in peace. That's all. And his family is in safe hands, so it's all right.
All will be well. And by God's grace, you will live. You would live longer than you expect. In good health.
Amen.
Amen. Favorite quotation?
No wahala.
Oh, is that? Oh
my quotation is do unto others as one others do unto you. That is all I live for.
Great. And so on that note, I want to say thank you so much for having us come have a conversation with history with you.
I appreciate it, and I'm very grateful.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Sure I did.
What part of it did you like the most?
All of it. All of it. I won't say I like it, but I think I like all of it. There are some things you touch. Kadam.
What is that, please?
Small.
Like where?
No. You are taking me back. We'll finish the interview.
Oh my goodness. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Very much.
And so on that note, we want to say thank you so much for being part of this week's edition of Conversation with History. And we've been speaking with General Ishaya Bameye. He shared so much about his life. And I hope you've been able to take one or two things from this conversation. Until next time, when we come your way, it's been Conversation with History. I'm Fekla Wilkie. Bye for now.
What limits you? Nothing. Who defines you? No one. Where can you go? Everywhere. With unlimited super-fast internet access, free Intel to Intel calls, and crystal clear quality conversations, you can do and be whatever you want to be. Intel. Live more.
So much resistance level in him, so much resistance, and I bet you Aljanin Metakwasara has a lot to do here today. Here is Aljanin Dogon Ebola taking on Bahagun Dan Sanda. Aljanin Dogon Ebola is the one and Aljanin Dogon Ebola has been killed. Something stylish about them, and Bahagun Dan Sanda is also dramatic about it.
Like to drive in the rain.
It depends on the velocity of the rain.
Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. Let's begin with President Muhammadu Buhari's return from Kigali. The president is back in Abuja after a very successful outing at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. The president was received on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello, Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Finance and Administration, Sanusi Lemu, and other top government officials. While in Kigali, President Buhari joined 53 other leaders to reaffirm their commitment to delivering a common future for member states underpinned by sustainability, peace and prosperity, aimed at improving the lives of 2.5 billion people represented across the Commonwealth. To this end, they underscored the importance of connecting, innovating and transforming in order to facilitate full recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic and to respond to conflicts and crises in ways which increase resilience and progress. President Buhari, who attended the meeting for the last time as head of state, assured the Commonwealth of his commitment to ensuring a peaceful election next year, as well as an orderly change of government. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is determined to work with Nigerians both at home and abroad towards developing the economy and creating a productive and peaceful nation which caters to the needs of its citizens. The president spoke at a town hall meeting with Nigerians in the diaspora on the margins of the just concluded 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
Among Among those granted audience by President Muhammadu Buhari include Yewande Adebowale, one of the top 4 winners at the Commonwealth Youth Competition at the Kigali Startup Festival, as well as Esther Olarewaju and Favor Adarinto, recipients of the CMU Africa Student Excellence Awards for Masters in Information Technology as well as Electrical and Computer Engineering, respectively.
Now being graduates, we are looking forward to use the skills we've gotten and then bring it down to my country to improve the technology sphere.
And we are not just people who are intellectuals, but we also have leadership skills to lead youths to be better at whatever they do.
You are the type of Nigerian that I like to see. God gave you this brains, He gave you the courage to use it, He gave you the mind to be so sensible. I congratulate you for being successful, and you are making us very proud. I'm very, very pleased to meet you.
The Nigerian leader, who commended the level of professionalism of Nigerians living in Rwanda and the amiable nature of their interactions with each other, said living peacefully and in obedience to the laws of the host nation is paramount as it gives Nigeria a good name. The federal government, he said, is working assiduously to protect all Nigerians, whether at home or abroad, to feel safe and attain their full potentials in life. The Nigerian High Commissioner to Rwanda, Ambassador Aisha Musa, had told the president that Nigerians in the country, whose population swelled from 100 to 400 in recent years, are generally well behaved.
We have them in the banking sector, in education, agriculture, telecommunication, ICT. They're all everywhere, sir, and doing very well.
We want to come to Nigeria and make a positive impact as we are doing here, and also below our burden. And we appreciate what you're doing as a father to all, keeping our dear country warm.
And one thing is instructive, they all got their foundation from Nigeria, and they made it clear, and we are grateful to Nigeria. So the thing is, nobody will celebrate us but ourselves. And then the next thing, how do you harness all these enormous resources that we have in human talent? And that's the beauty of what we're doing with the diaspora. You can see the passion and the interest to also give back and do something back home, particularly from the younger ones.
And in appreciation of the honor done to them, winner of the Kigali Startup Festival, Yewande Adebowale, presented shoes from recycled plastic waste.
And this is yours. We are currently looking to...
Thank you very much. What is the price? Okay, well, let's stand. How did you know?
From Kigali, Rwanda, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Similarly, heads of government of the Commonwealth have stated their firm commitment to delivering a common future for member states underpinned by sustainability, peace and prosperity towards improving the lives of the 2.5 billion people they represent, as contained in a 117-point resolution adopted at the end of the 26th meeting of the Commonwealth leaders in Kigali, Rwanda. Here again is State House correspondent Adamu Sambo with details.
The two-day meeting of the Commonwealth leaders came at a time of uneven recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, new threats to economic, security and political stability in the international system, and when many across member states are directly and increasingly affected by the impacts of climate change. The heads of government therefore underscored the importance of connecting, innovating and transforming in order to facilitate a full recovery from the global pandemic and to respond to conflicts and crises in ways that increases resilience and progress. They affirmed that universal, timely, fair and equitable access to and distribution of safe, efficacious and affordable COVID-19 vaccines are key to global recovery. Recognizing the negative impact of the ongoing global conflicts, including the war in Ukraine, on global energy and food security, the leaders highlighted the need to sustainably transform current food systems towards addressing weaknesses of the agri-food sector, improving productivity, building resilience in agriculture and supply chains to economic, social and environmental shocks. The Commonwealth meeting also reaffirmed that radicalization leading to violence, violent extremism and terrorism in all its forms are serious global threats,
while expressing concern for victims and strongly condemning perpetrators, they acknowledge that these threats require a multifaceted and whole-of-society approach, including working with relevant stakeholders towards addressing the root causes and drivers. Before adopting the resolutions, the Commonwealth leaders held a retreat during which various declarations were approved, including the one on sustainable urbanization and childcare reforms. Two African countries, Togo and Gabon, were formally admitted as new members of the Commonwealth family. The next meeting of the Commonwealth leaders will be held in Samoa in 2024. From Kigali, Rwanda, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
On the sidelines of CHOGM 2022, Nigeria's delegation to Kigali for the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, also anticipates major deals for a brighter outlook of the economy, while negotiating for immediate gains to the nation's development. Foreign Desk correspondent Usman Aliu takes a look at some of the anticipated gains.
In a voluntary association of 54 countries that evolved gradually from the British Empire and existed in its modern form since 1949, a serious nation will be emboldened not to take for granted any opportunity to negotiate better deals for the citizens at a time like this, when even the big economies are striving not to go down. And that is what Nigeria's government considers. Looking at the Commonwealth of Nations, a population of 2.5 billion people being in Kigali represented, is a platform for Nigeria to maximize and attract more attention among the bloc on common interests and mutual gains in various areas of the economy. Nigeria's active presence at the Kigali summit has enormous significance in boosting the economy, most especially building on the successes by the federal government in the current economic diversification drive, which saved the country's economy to absorb global shocks as a result of the pandemic and the current war between Russia and Ukraine, the effects of which the big and the emerging economies are even biting their fingers because of inflation, food shortage, and energy crisis. Therefore, the convergence of these networks for cooperation on common goals such as protecting the environment, boosting trade, fighting malaria and those neglected tropical diseases, supporting democracy, promoting education and gender equality are what the Nigeria's delegation, led by President Buhari, are giving their louder voices for.
One of our newest members is now at the helm, and more nations are seeking to join, which tells you everything you need to know about the health and vitality of our Commonwealth, because for all the differences between us, we're united by an invisible thread of shared values, history, and friendship.
Most of the Commonwealth members are former British colonies, but that is not a condition for membership. And as the size expands, so also the strategy Nigeria's government uses under President Buhari is ambitious to secure better future in the global arena for multilateral and bilateral engagements such as this Kigali summit. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
And now for news from the United Nations Conference on Food Security, where Nigeria has made a case for agricultural financing, transfer of technology, and boosting local food production capacity to save African countries from impending food crisis. Onengie Fineface reports.
Less vulnerable to food crisis.
Climate change, COVID-19 and conflicts. 3 crises hugely impacting global food security and the basis for this conference of the United Nations.
We want to bring together and better coordinate existing structures for combating hunger.
Effort must be exerted to secure a green corridor from Ukraine and enable grains and fertilizer export from Russia.
The conference aims to provide solutions to food insecurity by addressing the triggers.
Developed countries and international financial institutions need to make resources available to help governments support and invest in their people, leaving no one behind.
For African countries, it is time to go past food imports and look inwards through sustainable agricultural production.
For Africa, we must, however, move beyond emergency food aid. We must prioritize food production. We have the technologies to feed Africa. Africa does not need bowls in hand to beg for food. Africa needs seeds in the ground to produce food for itself.
Agro Zero Reject Initiative by our ministry, agricultural mechanization, staple crops agro processing zones, agricultural financing, import substitution. This policy aims at discouraging importation of commodities so that we can look inward.
Participants voted for the Global Alliance for Food Security to ramp multi-sectoral collaboration to prevent a slide of vulnerable people into hunger and starvation.
Has the potential.
Onengiye Fine Face, NT News.
Still on food security, the Ministry of Agriculture has commenced the distribution of farming input as palliative to small-scale farmers nationwide, including seed and farming equipment. Musa Aliu has the details.
The rainy season has set in all parts of the country, and already farmers are tilting the land for crop production purposes. With the high cost of planting materials being experienced nationwide, the federal government is out to support smallholder farmers.
Federal government, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has graciously approved the release and distribution of 82.5 metric tons of certified seeds of rice to farmers in 16 states. This intervention is targeting 33,000 farmers.
And here in Kano State, improved seeds and dryers were distributed to some farmers.
Apart from the seed and agricultural input, we have grain dryers that we distributed to some selected farmers to use so that they can better their lives.
Beneficiaries thanked the federal government for the gesture, hoping that the issue of scarcity and high cost of fertilizer will be looked into. Investigations carried out by NTA show that a bag of fertilizer cost about 30,000 naira. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
The headquarters of Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatinkai in Yobe is partnering the foreign and local non-governmental organizations to combat desertification and other forms of environmental degradation in units and formations within areas of its responsibilities. This came to the fore at the flag-off of a tree planting campaign at the Level 2 Field Hospital in Damaturu, Yobe State. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
It has shown that Yobe State remains among the frontline states facing serious environmental challenges, particularly desertification, which is encroaching at an alarming speed despite efforts to arrest the situation. The headquarters of Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatinkai is the latest organization in the state key into the agenda of reclaiming the environment from the negative effects of desertification with the planting of more than 250 seedlings at the Level 2 Field Hospital, Damaturu. The move by the sector is to protect the medical facility against natural as well as man-made disasters and promote a friendly working environment.
Sometime in May there was a windstorm that blew up some part of this hospital, and so I believe this initiative is a good one in a right direction and in the right time.
Our expectation is to see that this tree grows and then it's actually curb the desertification around this area and within Yobe State at large.
5,000 seedlings are expected to be planted at the newly constructed army barracks in Damaturu going forward, with the sector indicating that its doors are always open for partnership in the fight against climate change to safeguard the environment. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has signed an executive order for the installation and use of closed-circuit television (CCTV) in all public and private institutions in the state. A statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Richard Olatunde, indicates that it is to ensure security of lives and property in all public and private institutions. The order is expected to be enforced in all religious places of worship, financial institutions, event centers, supermarkets, educational institutions, hotels, health centers, eateries, vehicular parks, and other places regularly used by the public. All security agencies, especially the Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ondo State Security Network, and the Department of State Security Services are expected to ensure this compliance. Violators of the order will be prosecuted in accordance with Section 203 of the Criminal Code, Laws of Ondo State. It's time now to join our Lagos Network Center.
Thank you. The federal government is following up on its determination to harness the blue economy for economic gains with renewed commitment to upgrade the state of ports in the country. The Minister of State for Transportation, Gbemisola Saraki, at an interactive session in Lagos, decried the state of Lagos ports and expressed government's readiness to fix them quickly. Michael Olaleye reports.
From Apapa down to Tinkan Island Port, this corridor offers the firepower upon which Nigeria's maritime space thrives. Sadly, the two largest seaports are aging, and the need for rehabilitation has become inevitable. The Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) is already proposing options like multilateral agencies and consolidated revenue funding to reconstruct the ports. But the minister said the fixing of the ports must be done without disrupting operations.
The issue of power or lack of power, you need to have power at the port. So we're taking stock. We're going to go back, come back, and start to implement and fashion out what we can do in those four areas, like I told you, immediate, short, medium, and long term.
Another area of interest to the minister is reviewing the National Seafarers Development Program, which she observed must be done to put Nigeria at par with countries like India and Philippines. The minister believes opportunities are bound in the business, and Nigeria can make massive gains in areas less explored.
The creation of jobs.
The $350 million cabotage vessel financing fund to increase the number of indigenous ships flying the Nigerian flag, the minister said is delayed due to guidelines which must be passed by the National Assembly, but hopeful that it will be resolved before the end of the tenure of the current administration. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, is already augmenting its efforts by seeking incentives like zero duty for new vessels.
If you are going to order a spare part for a ship, you should be able to get such incentives under the control price of the CBN. And then if you are going to probably purchase a ship also, you should be able to get a similar treatment.
On the state of the 50 billion naira floating dock, the Director General said the document for the approval of a public-private partnership that will put the facility up for maximum use will be presented to the Federal Executive Council. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
From upgrading the ports, we move on to developing the education sector. Lagos State government will spare no efforts in ensuring that sustainable development goals, especially on education and gender equality, are actualized. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu disclosed this at a forum tagged Equal Summit on Education in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals ensures inclusive and equitable quality education that promotes lifelong learning opportunities for all. These stakeholders are therefore gathered at the instance of the Lagos State Government to explore public-private partnership with a view to developing education for sustainable development and global citizenship.
We want to give every student in Lagos a solid foundation for personal and professional success. As policy makers and private sector professionals, we have a responsibility to ensure that emerging generations of young people are exposed to the same high-quality opportunities that we enjoyed.
But we know that you cannot clap with one hand, and therefore we need a lot of partners to collaborate with us and build the kind of educational sector that we know we can build.
We need help with the devices for our over 1.1 million students in secondary schools. We need help with support for out-of-school children.
Concession opportunities for private organizations that will participate in the collaboration through their corporate social responsibility and target-driven practices was also discussed.
Now more than ever, sustainable partnerships and relationships are essential to ensure quality education provision for all children within the state.
Any economy that wants to develop has to invest critically in education. The percentage worldwide is about 25%. In Nigeria, we do less than 10%, so that's not adequate.
We also have alternative sources of not just knowledge, but even funding options. Government alone cannot in any way fund the quantum of what's required in education.
The event was organized by the Lagos State Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Office of Sustainable Development Goals. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Done with a beat from Lagos, but do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Chinyere in our Enugu Network Center has government role in human capital development and other reports on Nationwide after this break. To stay with us.
7-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportation. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
Engage your team this summer at Digitest 2022, an annual ICT creative camp and competition for young minds of ages 8 to 18. With the theme Connecting Technology, Energy and Climate. Date Saturday, August 13 to Sunday, August 21st, 2022. Venue, Top Faith International Secondary School, Nkpatak, Akwa Ibom State. For registration, visit www.digitalpairs.org. For information and inquiries, call 0807-782-3307 or 0807-782-3308. For more updates, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Digital Peers. Digitest is brought to you by Digital Peers International in collaboration with the Akwa Ibom State Government.
Harmony of biodiversity destroyed, both in climate crisis and crime phases.
Dicey situation indeed, yet we carry on like a bull in a china shop.
On environment matters, we take the bull by the horns, comb the nooks and cranny of Nigeria.
Asking tough questions.
Examining challenges and opportunities.
Giving human face to the science, facts, facts, and global agreements. It's a call for action. Don't miss it.
Join award-winning environmental journalist Jennifer Igwe and other NTA Eco reporters for Environment Matters.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA Television College, Jos, invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills, date 13th July to 5th August 2022, 4 weeks. Sports Coverage and Reporting Skills in the Mass Media, date 13th July to 22nd July 2022, 2 weeks. Basic Camera Operation Techniques, date 1st August to 26th August 2022, 4 weeks. Advanced Broadcast Accounting and Auditing, date 15th August to 9th September 2022, 4 weeks. Transmitter Operations and Maintenance, date 22nd August to 26th August 2022, 1 week. Workforce Intelligence, Key to Organizational Effectiveness and Efficiency, date 5th September to 16th September 2022, 2 weeks. The course fee for 1 week courses is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for 2 weeks courses is 150,000 naira, while the course fee for 4 weeks courses is 180,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
For staying on, welcome to Enugu. In driving the National Human Capital Development Vision, the Enugu State Government has expressed desire to play an active role in the project of Lift Nigeria High in the Global Human Capital Development Index. Deputy Governor and Chairman of the Human Capital Development Council, Cecilia Ezilo, stated this during a stakeholders engagement. Susan Eze reports.
Focuses on 3 strategic areas: health and nutrition, education, and labor force. The National Human Capital Development Agenda is to stimulate action towards improving nutrition and reducing child and maternal mortality by half, increasing school enrollment, and promoting women and youth empowerment. To activate this action plan in Enugu State, the Deputy Governor assured of the state government's strong political will towards proper coordination of the program. Intervention areas, she said, are already incorporated into the state budget.
Our state council, which I'm privileged to lead, will work very closely with you to ensure that HCD vision, key priorities, and targets were achieved in our state as soon as possible.
According to the Southeast HCD consultant, the technical working group drawn from the line ministries of Education, Women Affairs and Social Development, and Labor and Productivity are the foot soldiers. They must understand the work ahead, hence this engagement.
We need to do the onboarding session, and we need to do the critical thinking. We need to do brainstorming on how we can move forward. We're also going to look at the data. But data actually, that's the major challenge we have in practically every place.
The state focal person, Dr. Sam Obunwobodo, and other speakers drove home the need for teamwork to achieve the overall target of the HCD program. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
The 26th of June every year is marked as International Drug Day. And in keeping with its mandate of stamping out illicit drugs, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA Enugu State Command, has taken its fight against illicit drugs to a different dimension. Mina Adobe Ukobase reports.
According to the commandant, use of illicit drug advocacy of the command has improved through grassroots public enlightenment campaigns carried out in motor parks, secondary and tertiary institutions, and collaborations with major stakeholders to reduce drug trafficking and use of illicit drugs. He said cannabis is the most amongst drugs being abused, but due to the intense activities of the operational team who recently raided red flag areas, the issue has been reduced.
We realize that it is the only reasonable way that you can curb rampant use of drugs, by giving people the opportunity to have the proper information.
Special advisor to the Enugu State Governor on Drugs and Narcotics, however, praised the activities of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in the state and promised to take their request to the appropriate authorities for action.
The area of logistics, His Excellency has also been helping the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Enugu State. Recently, you can observe that he donated first Yana buses to them to carry out the operational activities.
The commandant, however, called on residents to cooperate with the command in stamping out illicit drugs in the state by availing them discreet information that will help to track offenders and bring them to book. In Enugu, Nina Adobio Kobasi, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Enugu. We'll now rejoin Naja'atu in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you and welcome back to our Abuja studios. We're talking drug matters now. A Brazilian returnee has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, for possession of 50 pellets of a substance identified as cocaine concealed in his private part. In the same vein, the NDLEA says it was able to apprehend a drug kingpin for an attempt to export 40 parcels of methamphetamine to the UK through the Lagos airport. Two other kingpins alleged to be behind the importation of two recent drug consignments seized at the Tinkan seaport in Apapa have also been arrested, while records reveal that 407.60 kilograms of tramadol, 40 ampules of pentazocine injection, and 424.1 kilograms of cannabis indica have also been cut off the drug supply chain through the Lagos airport, with 3 suspects in custody. Meanwhile, 2 kilograms of methamphetamine have been seized at a courier house in Owerri, Imo State. Still on substance abuse, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Imo State says it has reiterated its commitment to stemming the tide of drug abuse and illicit trafficking. The NDLEA commander in Imo State, Ruben Ape, said this in Owerri to mark this year's World Anti-Drug Day. Loretta Rinzewim reports.
Attendant consequences of drug abuse and illicit trafficking have remained a source of concern to governments at all levels. It is in line with days that the United Nations in 1988 marked out the 26th of June annually as Anti-Drug Day to create awareness on the dangers of drug abuse. Briefing newsmen in Owerri, the commander, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Imo State Command, Ruben Ape, decries the increase in drug abuse, especially among youths, which has resulted in several deaths and other health challenges. He knows that between July 2021 and June 2022, the command has arrested 218 suspects, out of which 51 have been convicted, while 145 have been charged and their case is still ongoing.
The total seizure within the period under discourse is 1,471.314, and we have heroin, methamphetamine, tramadol, raphanol. These are the commonly found drugs we can also talk about here in Imo State.
It is expected that the awareness on the dangers of drug abuse will produce positive results towards checking further increase in involvement in illicit trafficking. In Owerri, Loretta Rinzewim, NTA News.
Thank you, Loretta. Let's now join Asma'u in our Sokoto Network Center for more updates on Nationwide.
Najatu, good evening and welcome to Sokoto. The need for everybody to contribute his quota towards addressing the menace of drug abuse in the society has been stressed. These were the views of stakeholders at the lecture organized by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Sokoto office. Sheikh Muhammad Dati reports that the event is in commemoration of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking.
We seem to be having a bit of an audio challenge there in Sokoto. Let's take a commercial break while our engineers sort it out.
The breast or cervical cancer service? Are you a private or public laboratory, clinic or hospital that offer any of breast imaging, cervical cancer screening, HPV vaccination, or other breast or cervical cancer services? Is your service a primary, secondary, or tertiary center located in any part of Nigeria, no matter how remotely located it is? If yes to any of these questions, then subscribe to the OCI Foundation's Save Breast app and become accessible and visible to millions of Nigerians. It is all for free. To subscribe, just type the Save Breast application form on Google or go to the OCI Foundation's page on www.ocifoundation.org and search for Save Breast application form. Complete the form and submit. And let millions of Nigerians patronize you, all for free. Become part of the OCI Foundation's quest to tackle breast and cervical cancers in Nigeria. And join us to rise by lifting others.
Fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and
look at the language issue. We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Invasion 1897 was a deliberate
many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
These and applications, there are terms and conditions.
Of course, it is the union of two people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Diko.
And I'm Elizabeth Obori.
Thanks for staying tuned. The federal government is strengthening partnership with development partners for more funding of alternative sources of energy to close the energy gap in the country. To achieve this, stakeholders have engaged with key players in the renewable energy subsector to discuss other innovations to support solar-powered projects currently being implemented by the federal government. The federal government is therefore calling for active participation of private sector in the deployment of renewable energy sources to communities for Nigeria to achieve its target of 30% energy mix by the year 2030.
that we need in our everyday problems within the sector. It's a collaborative effort between ourselves, other stakeholders, private sector, and development partners. So every country, and Nigeria is not an exception, has its peculiar energy access challenges. In a country with a very large unelectrified population like ours, efforts are targeted at closing the energy gap across the nation while improving the socio-economic status of communities through the stimulation of productive use.
The federal government, to boost commerce in Ariaria International Market, has temporarily shut down due to ongoing construction of a section of the market by the state government. Benson Osadebe reports.
Many traders here in Ariaria International Market heaved a sigh of relief when this power project was commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019. The initiative was intended to reduce pressure on the national grid and provide steady electricity supply in Ariaria Market and other adjoining markets such as the shoe manufacturing sections of power line. Today, this all-important project is unable to serve its original purpose. The ongoing reconstruction of some sections of Ariaria International Market has led the operators of the power project to pull off some of their facilities from the work sites.
We usually supply light to mainly people in the other side of the demolish part of the market. And since then, they have been trying to do the installation, but I don't know what is preventing them from giving light to the other part of the market. They say after they have finished the shop, they will restore the light.
Investigation reveals that prior to this development, the power project was one of the major energy sources in the market, despite allegations of underperformance, which prompted the House Committee on Power to visit the facility on an oversight function last year.
The House Committee got a petition, and it's on its strength already that we have come here. So now we have seen the problems that are here. We have interacted with the investors in the power project, and we have interacted with the trader. We have seen all the challenges. So we go back, take this report to our chairman, Engineer Magaji, and the committee will now deliberate on our report.
It is hoped that the power project will begin to perform optimally once the economy reverts to normal. In Aba, Benson Osadebe, NTA News.
And I'm going to join Obehi in a
mandate to promote government activities and enhance citizens' participation effectively. The State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu reeled out these expectations during the Edo State Government Communications Sector Retreat in Benin. Urakobong Achibong reports.
The 21st century is evolving with innovations in the communication space. It therefore matters where, how, and the audience that messages are disseminated. This is where the Deputy Governor wants participants to assert themselves. He notes that government is working with reforms in all sectors, and synergy among stakeholders is paramount to avoid distortion and misinformation of such reforms and other programs of government.
Finally, to let people know the importance of those reports and what these reports intend to protect for our state intends to approach. I need you to understand that they just one government, and when you are at home with that, then that ecosystem will be able to work together to be able to propagate the right story to the right people in the right time.
At the center of the retreat is the State Ministry of Communications and Orientation. The ministry seeks through the retreat to promote delivery of consistent messaging amidst the challenge of social media. Participants are expected to make good use of the retreat and garner full knowledge of the vision, strategic trust, and focus of the present administration in the state. In Benin, Udrakobong Achibong, NTA News.
Rising from the influx trailing the recent turnout of Nigerians willing to exercise their franchise in 2023 general elections, Edo State entertainers are sensitizing eligible voters in the state to the need to acquire their permanent voters' cards so as to perform their civic responsibility. The event held at the Benin City Center. Amuli Okulu has the report.
The permanent voters registration concert is geared towards encouraging Nigerians, especially Edo residents, to register. Prospective voters were enlightened on how to transfer voters registration to polling units closer to them, change of name, retrieve missing voters cards, register new ones, and other challenges that may hinder voters' participation.
Nigerians are ready to change the narratives. The campaign should be provide machines for PVC registration.
We are praying for a new Nigeria, a Nigeria that will work. We all need to vote, and without your PVC, you cannot vote.
The state deputy governor and other participants are emphatic that exercises like this is the first step towards ensuring a credible poll.
For me, I think this is the beginning of followers not leaving everything to their leaders.
I don't have before. I'm doing a fresh registration because we all need to cast our votes for the upcoming election. Saying we don't want to do, we'll keep on suffering. All the youths have to go and do their PVC.
I want to vote for the right person where God will set.
The event was also an opportunity to appeal to INEC for an extension of the 30th June deadline for the continuous voters registration exercise. In Benin, Anwuli Okolo, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Naja Atu in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Obehi. Thank you. The 2022 Civil Service Week has been rounded off with an interdenominational Thanksgiving service in Abuja in line with the scripture, which stipulates that in everything give thanks. For this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning all men. This scripture from the Bible propels the Nigerian civil servants, led by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, to appear before him with praise. Hamman Jabani reports.
Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. And exactly played out at the Interdenominational Church Thanksgiving Service for 2022 Nigerian Civil Service Week.
Lord, on behalf of the civil service, I give you thanks. I give you thanks for what you are doing. I give you thanks because you are taking us to greater heights. I give you thanks because, Lord, it is by you and by you.
The message, which came from Psalm 100 verses 1 to 5 and Matthew chapter 25 verses 14 to 30, calls on civil servants to make good use of every opportunity given to them to provide service and never fail to put in their best in attaining the task before them, for there is time for reward and season of giving account.
God expects us to be productive as a people, as a nation, as a church. And we know that Nigeria also, as a nation, we are trusting that we will be more productive.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemi Eso, charged civil servants to find time and pray for their leaders while giving thanks to God for more blessing in life.
God has been very, very good to us, and so we have to give him thanks. The Civil Service Week also is another reason to give thanks to God, because all the programs went very, very smoothly. We give God all the glory.
This is the first time that a civil servant is awarded for productivity with a physical gift, and it's also created a number of interactions for civil service to air their views directly, and their complaints are taken by the head of service.
This is the last event put in place by the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation to celebrate the 2022 Civil Service Week. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Thank you, Hamman. We're unable to join our Sakwato Network Center, so we'll just join our sports desk with Cynthia Ogun.
Favour Ashe and Grace Nwokocha are the fastest man and woman at the ongoing AFN Commonwealth Games and World Championship Trials in Edo State after winning the men and women 100 meters races. as she crossed the finish line won with a new personal best of 9.99 seconds, making him the second person to run sub 10 seconds at the national championship. In the women race, Grace won her first national title after running to the finish line in 11.03 seconds.
It has been a good season for me. I've been running 10-2. I've been running 10-1, 10-1 from the indoor 6-5. I've been running a steady 10-1. So I know it's just a matter of time.
I'm happy about what I did today. It simply shows that I'm getting better.
Meanwhile, African champion and African record holder in women 100 meters hurdles, Tobilola Amusan, has created a new championship record, racing 12.54 seconds in the 100 meters hurdles.
Keep doing my thing, let God take the charge, and that's it.
To football, Nigeria's national female under-20 team, the Falconets, are expected to begin camping Monday in Abuja ahead of the 2022 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Costa Rica. 30 players have been invited to camp by coach Chris Danjuma to kick off preparations. Nigeria has been grouped in Group C alongside France, Canada, and Korea Republic. And finally, to hockey, 8 games will be decided as the Super League enters Day 3 Monday, with Stallions taking on Delta Force. Yobe Rollers will slug it out with IGP Flickers, and Niger Flickers play Southwest in the male category. In the women games, Yobe Queens will take on Southwest. Kada Queens play Benue Amazons. It will be the battle for the Queens when Plateau Queens take on Delta Queens on Monday. With sports update, Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
The sports update concludes nationwide. Thanks for joining us. Remember to keep supporting the campaign against rape and rapists to be a star. I'm Najat Tijani. Thanks for watching.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Naysayers have recently ramped up their criticism of the Buhari administration for borrowing. These critics are very insincere. We do not borrow for recurrent expenditure, neither do we borrow to pay salaries. We are borrowing to build world-class infrastructure that will benefit generations of Nigerians. And we have a lot to show for the loans we have taken. Today, the standard gauge rail line between Lagos and Ibadan are running very well. Today, we have new airport terminals in Abuja, in Kano, in Lagos and Port Harcourt. Today, the Itakpe-Warri rail line that was abandoned for decades is now running. Today, we have well over 13,000 kilometers of federal roads under repair, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. There's a road project in every state today. Today, we have started the countdown to when the second Niger Bridge, which successive administrations have built only on paper, will be completed. The list of projects we are handling with the loans we obtained is long.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image on our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the Sports Parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians. The eyes have it.
Hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile device to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Welcome to Bold Faces Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, FG at Work, Contractors and its Agency Project Documentary, Building Infrastructure for Prosperity. I'm your host, Trisha Esegbe Kerry. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Rehabilitation and Building of Federal Roads and Bridges nationwide has played an essential role in facilitating the smooth running of all the sectors of our economy. And President Muhammadu Buhari has been legitimately distributing wealth through investment on road infrastructure. And this project represents major investment in road transport infrastructure. which is a commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration as a driver for economic growth and prosperity. Today, our lens will zoom into the Arab contractors, one of the leading construction companies in the Middle East and Africa, with an experience that is widely diversified and covers a wide spectrum of the construction industry and its ancillary services in Nigeria. Both Faces Moments continues after the break.
The Arab Contractors AC was founded in 1955 by engineer Osman Ahmed Osman with a vision to be amongst the top construction organizations working in the Middle East and Africa, and a mission to provide high-standard services and products that are fit for purpose. The company presently employs about 77,000 workers in more than 29 countries globally. In 1991, Arab Contractors was established in Nigeria, and over the last 30 years, the company has successfully executed and delivered major critical projects for the Nigerian infrastructural development and economic growth.
First of all, let me just introduce Arab Contractor as a mother company. It has been created since about 65 years, covering most of African countries. This company, it has been founded and based in Egypt. But later on, it has to expand. One of this expansion, it is in Nigeria here. They have already created this cooperation. Arab Contractor Nigeria Limited is subsidiary by Arab Contractor, the mother company. It is shareholder between, or is a symbol between for the cooperation between Nigeria and Egypt. For past 30 years, they are into the business in Nigeria. It has been incorporated in Nigeria since 1990. For all of this time, we are working within some of the states here and the federal capital. Till this moment, we are into the several civil work in construction of roads, building, bridges, dams, and so on, all the civil activity. And they started the first job 1992.
The Arab Contractors experience is widely diversified and covers a wide spectrum of the construction industry and its ancillary services, which includes public buildings, bridges, roads, tunnels, airports, housing, water and sewage projects, sport buildings, restoration of monument, irrigation, producing ready-mix concrete, shipbuilding, electromechanical project, engineering consultancy, manufacturing and assembly of steel structures. Arab Contractors Nigeria Limited has undertaken several completed and ongoing road projects under construction
every part of the country. So the conversation probably used to in their states. Those conversations have changed now. No state can say that there is no presence, at least in the Ministry of Works, in their states. If it's not a housing project, it's a road project or a bridge project, or all of them combined.
A lot of people have to thank Mr. Buhari. I must be honest with you. This is the government in the history of Nigeria that has laid hand in infrastructure more than any government. And part of this is this. And this is a link road. Aside me that will be thanking Mr. President, many souls will be thanking him for awarding this project. And secondly, Mr. Fashola, he has done a whole man job. He makes sure that money, the fund should not be lacking. If the fund is lacking, this will not be achievable. So a kudos to Mr. Fashola for kept to their promises.
I'm very happy for the development that is coming forth for this road. I'm very happy, and the community, you can see, it has brought an improvement and development to this community, and we are very happy. As you can see, this road is a federal road for a very long time. The road has not been done. It has been left like this, and the road has been causing a lot of havoc. It has caused a lot of problems. Even the motorists, they don't know how to link to their bus stop and their community. The coming of the development of the road now has brought a lot of market sales, improvement of sales, turnovers, and other. You can see the road is close to our shops are close to the road, and you can see that the populace, they are enjoying the road, and we are happy for what the government has done. So we pray that more development like this will come forth in the next future to come.
Now, look at the economic aspect. Farmers must move their goods from their farms to the markets where they will sell and earn an income. Commercial activities must happen between towns and villages. You cannot carry out all these activities if you do not have good road infrastructure. Now, what this does is that it creates wealth across the entire strata of society.
As I said earlier, we are working with the state government and the Federal Ministry of Work and even some of the private sectors. We have about 6 projects ongoing now. This 6th project is allocated in 4 states, like for instance Enugu and Abuja State and Imo State and Lagos. And the project in Lagos is serving between Lagos and Ondo State.
The work started in July 2018, but it has been ongoing. Recently, there has been a lot of activities due to the mandate given to the contractor by the ministry to achieve at least 75% of the work, 75% completion by the end of June. So there has been a lot of activities on site. The pace of work has increased tremendously.
The road is 30 kilometers. Start from Crude roundabout, end for Shagam. This road is dualized for first and half kilometer. Remain is width 12.8 meter.
Then we have rigid pavement, we have flexible pavement, we have the drains. The drains is 1.33 meters width, and
the project is of significant importance to the community here, from Ikorodu to Shagam.
Both Lagos State and Ogun State that we benefit from this project, and I thank God that we are at the forefront of this project, calling on the federal government to do something about this road because of its economic importance to the commuters, both in Lagos State and Ogun State, and some people traveling through this road to eastern part of the country. The importance of this road cannot be overemphasized.
We thank the federal government for this great job doing. We thank the President Buhari for this great job, because this road has been abandoned for some years ago. But we thank God they remember us this very tenure. So I think that by doing this road now, it will improve our business here in this environment.
We are very, very grateful to Mr. President, the Honorable Minister for Works, for the role they have played in ensuring that this road is to be completed within this year, first quarter of this year, by God's grace.
Everybody will enjoy the road. Everybody in this Ogijo, even outside from Ogijo, because there are many roads that lead to this Ogijo road. So everybody is happy. Is happy with the road because they are doing the job perfectly.
Okay, let me start by saying that the construction industry is a hub of business activities. There are a lot of economic activities going around the construction projects. And apart from employing a large number of people in the construction sites, there are a lot of other indirect jobs created. Like you noted, there are suppliers of vendors of food vendors, and then other professionals that provide technical services. That you forget also the transporters. All these are things that work around the project sites.
Now, what this does is that it creates wealth across the entire strata of society. Whether you are a child going to school, or you are a patient going to the hospital, or you are a farmer moving your goods from the farm to the market, or you are a construction worker moving construction materials from one point to another. So infrastructure is actually the bedrock of socio-economic growth.
The Arab Contractors Nigerian Limited is currently rehabilitating, expanding and upgrading the 56.1 kilometer of the Port Harcourt to Enugu Expressway Section 2, linking Umuahia to Aba Township. And presently, 46 kilometers of the road project has been done, and the project is expected to be completed in May 2022. The Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway is a major road connecting 5 states in the southeast geopolitical zones of Nigeria.
Renewable this route is considered as a vital commercial artery in this country. It is linking the southeast states together. It will have a big role in the movement of goods and people across the southeast states. And even exceed the southeast zone, as this route has linking to another major route that is crossing the whole state of Nigeria. So it's very important for the movement of goods and people across the whole state.
It's very, very important. It touches people's life, community, employment, market sellers. Even before you went to Enugu, we have Umuahia. You can take enough up to just 5 minutes to reach. This is the point of the project. You have the community 70% their goods. They are very brought employment to the community. First of all, I want to thank President Muhammad Buhari for this job. Since starting office as the president of the country, the project that we have been financing project, we have not stopped financing up to date. And as the Minister for Works and Housing, he has been good with the company, and every time now and then supervising how far the work has gone. I wish they would kudos to him.
President Muhammadu Buhari has been legitimately distributing wealth through investment in road infrastructure and the 100 million Nigerians he would take out of poverty. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Rehabilitation and Building of Federal Roads and Bridges nationwide has played an essential role in facilitating the smooth running of all the sectors of our economy. And the prosperity of our people is the reason Mr. President is pushing several infrastructural renewal projects. The road projects undertaken by Arab Contractors Nigerian Limited has opened up more areas and stimulate economy and social development and provide access to employment.
I'm really delighted with the money they are paying me because I'm really satisfied with it. And my family, we are very happy. Since I've started this job, I'm very happy. I'm doing everything perfectly with my family. I'm sending my family to school, and my wife is okay also.
The development of Nigerian road infrastructure, job creation, impact on industrialization, national economic growth, and its positive economic empowerment by the President Buhari administration cannot be overemphasized, and Mr. President and the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, and his team are very passionate in their efforts in rehabilitation and construction of these roads nationwide. These projects represent major investment in road transport infrastructure, which is a commitment of the President Buhari administration as a driver for economic growth and prosperity. They are visible and incontrovertible assets in proof of what Nigerian resources are invested in from a combination of earned resources and borrowings. This has helped in creating jobs and building a better tomorrow for our nation.
Well, as you see, the president promised to raise 100 million people out of poverty. Well, and poverty we must define. Poverty, if you look at your dictionary, is more an extensive definition beyond the lack of money in your pocket. It's also your lack of access, and also a function of how easy or difficult it is to do certain things, and how much time you have to be productive. So, and for those who pause to reflect and think, when the president was saying that, he wasn't just saying he alone. It will require all the states of the federation to participate in that, because when really and truly said, the 100 million people or more who are Nigerians live in the states. So it's going to be an all of government action, and it has started, and the impact is already being felt, because poverty, taking people out of poverty includes so many things, as I've tried to say. It's not just putting cash in people's pocket and employing them. So on those roads that people used to sleep overnight, Shagamu to Benin, Lagos to Ibadan, you can now go and come back in one day. You know how much time you have saved?
The minister, he is capable to, you can, if you like to know if he's doing well or not, you can just drive along Nigeria and see what is the development is. For me personally, as I mentioned earlier, in 2000, and I am here in Nigeria for more than 17 years now. If I'm driving from Enugu state, if I can remember, to Abuja state, I will stay like 3 hours plus if there is no hold up. If there is no hold up. Go today, I just came from the east, from Enugu till Abuja state. It's almost 1.5 hours or 140 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes. You are driving smooth road, nice road. It is helping everybody. And what I am reading through the newspaper, go to Lagos, Ibadan, in the north, and there's a lot of development. It has happened this time around.
So, if a 6-hour journey is now 3 hours across the local Weto bridge, you save time. And if time is money, clearly the president has reached you. Because that time you have saved, you can use for more productive activity that earns you more income. But quite aside from income, is also the quality of life. And that is a function of how much time you spend on the road and how much time you have for yourself and family. And how much that affects your health. And that is a measure of poverty and prosperity, as the case may be. Not to talk of trying to do business. So that if the president has made a 5-hour journey through his infrastructure, now 2 hours, and you are a businessman in that area, you will be more efficient. You will make more money. And the president doesn't need to reach you directly to impact you.
Yeah, the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing has done very well. This government is doing a lot in infrastructure to correct the decadence we have up to before now. And it takes an instrumentality of the minister to achieve this. His coordination his activities have been so wonderful, and I think he has done very well.
We have to just recommend that also in the matter of securing money. This administration, once he came, if all of us we know the oil has came down, the economy in the world has a lot of challenges, this pandemic, but he's still able to manage source of money, to source some of the main projects. Like the problem of Sukuk, who is allowing the industrial to stand up till now. Thinking about this source of funding and going up and down for the maintain some of the roads, to maintain to open express, I think they have done the best.
In the places where we have built infrastructure, roads and bridges, the feedback we are getting, very positive feedback, is that the land values in all that area have gone up by 30 to 40%. So, people who are renting those lands, who own them, who are selling them, they're making more money than they would have. The president has reached them. This government has reached them. Or their state governments too have reached them. So that's how it will progress. And people must own up to what they get. Not to talk of the direct beneficiaries, the suppliers, and all of that. Without those bridges, there is no work. Or there is no work of that quantum. When, okay, Lagos-Ibadan has been on now for how many years? Since we came 2016, we started. Second Niger Bridge, Abuja, Kano, daily. Some people get up in the morning and say we're going to work. Where is the work? It's that place. So that work didn't exist before we came. So these are the ways, and these are related to wealth creation and wealth distribution. Journey time, efficiency, business efficiency, and that's one of the levers that the president is using to reduce the impact of poverty, by creating efficiency, by creating work, by creating prosperity, and also by changing your experience on the road. Why should you sleep on a 200-kilometer road when it can be traveled in just 2 hours?
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Aba, the commercial capital of Abia State, well known as the Enyimba City, is a little bit mighty city where anything and about everything is possible. With a population of over 2 million people residents and thousands of daily visitors, the city is said to be in a hurry almost round the clock. The bulk of the commercial activities therein is centered on creative entrepreneurial skills in diverse forms, from the metal fabrications to leather works of shoes and bags. Have you heard of Made in Aba shoes? They are a sight to behold. The creative beauty put into it with what you may describe as a seamless effort, but that is only for the experts, as I tried to produce a pair, but failed woefully. Now we know that it is easier said than done for the novice. How then do these experts get the job done?
The Aba people, God gave us special strength. No matter any quantity you will order now, we will make sure that will satisfy our customers.
Who really are their target buyers?
Nigerians are not patronizing our product. Instead of them patronizing what we are producing, Cameroonians, Togo, Ivory Coast, Abidjan, all these African sub-Saharan countries, they are the people that are coming in here to buy our product because they know the value.
Is this business really profitable?
There's money here. There's money here. There is money. If the government can help us to move forward,
we will turn the economy of this country round. We will not be mentioning anything like joblessness again. All these young school leavers who don't have jobs, you see many of them here. They will be flowing, and we'll be training them because the skill God gave it to us.
One thing that stands out are the labels on the products. All are foreign. I wondered why.
Whenever they come to know that you are the one that produced this one, sometimes they would not like to buy it. They prefer the ones they don't know the person that work it than the one they know the person that worked it.
The Aba shoes seem to be high in demand, especially within the west coast of Africa. What stands it out?
We are using two kinds of leathers. One is animal skin and a synthetic. It's Nigerian leather. That's why the country prefer this leather to those of their own leathers. That's our women, they will tell you, that is what we are hearing today. They are now preferring made in Aba to made in China because of its quality today.
Given the fact that this little town known as the Japan of Africa can well produce footwears for the entire Nigeria and beyond, what then is stalling the effort?
Shoe manufacturing is something that needs brain work. They should first of all talk about an environment, a place that is made, that is cited for leather and the garment. Provide us, if not another thing, let there be electricity, let there be empowerment.
They don't have the equipment. We are working too much with hand. So we are straightening ourselves.
Not long ago, the state government took a giant stride to build on the people's efforts. Some of the designers were sent to China to learn and acquire more skills and finesse in this area. What has been the effect on their productivity?
I improved in my production. People that have been buying my products before I went to China and now, I think they can see the difference. There's a whole lot of difference in my production. It has improved the finishing, everything, the packaging is just superb right now.
Now, that is the language our youths should be speaking. Whatever it is what, we must look inward if we must develop our great nation Nigeria, starting from the Japan of Africa, Aba.
The Bini Kingdom is one of the oldest kingdoms in Africa, and like most kingdoms, is steadfast in the practicing of its traditions and culture.
The Bini Kingdom actually came into existence from creation. But as far as human intellect can recall, we know that this kingdom started with a system of gerontocracy. It was the system of the Oduweship that was in existence at the beginning. So after that era, you have the new era of Ogiso. So the Ogiso era actually started with Ogiso Igodo. And as at that time, the kingdom was known as Igodo Migodo.
Ogiso being the name of the dynasty as well as the title borne by the kings, literally means King of the Sky. After the last king of the Ogiso dynasty, Ogiso Owodo, the empire experienced great confusion and the people rebelled against the rule of the Ogiso dynasty, which led to the end of the dynasty.
Oracle advised that a certain queen in the harem should be sacrificed. But before the message could be delivered to the king, it was twisted. And the king was told, and the oracle said his own prince, the Kaladeran, should be sacrificed. And the king would have believed. And that's how the king ordered that Prince Kaladeran should be executed. But somehow by divine grace, the executioners had mercy on Prince Kaladera and he wandered away to the west.
It was the Kaladera who left and wandered in the bush that got to Uhe, which the Yoruba people saw and said they saw a king who fell from heaven, who came down from with a chain. It was the Kaladera.
Yes, and Bini Kingdom was in a state of turmoil, was in a state of turbulence. And the oracle said, you must go and look for the lost prince. It's only him that can bring stability to the kingdom. And that is how the chiefs from Benin, led by Oliver, now went in search of Prince Kaladera.
But now they now wondered and found that they now saw him in Ife. They now told him that he should come back to Benin to come and rule. He now looked at them and said, see me, I'm too old now, I won't be able to come. But whatever it is, I will send my son.
When they got to Benin, Romeo came to realize that it's only a child that is born here that can rule in this part of the world. And he took the daughter of Usanego, and Indi, who had a child but couldn't cry then. So a spiritual seed was prepared at the Oka village by Romeo, which was sent to them. And then getting there, he used the seeds and played the marble seed against the game of Use. And where he won, and the first word that came out from his mouth then was Owomika, which was later coined into Eweka the first. At the age of 14, he became the Oba of Benin.
Oba Eweka I was the first crowned Oba of Bini Kingdom and founder of the Oba dynasty. His reign commenced the Second Bini Empire, which started around 1200 AD. Having ascended the throne, Oba Eweka I deemed it necessary to establish Ogyododuwa or Agwosa to commemorate the coming of Oromia and the beginning of the Obaship era after the period of interregnum.
At about the period of 12 AD, he instituted the Oduduwa festival. It was a time to remember God after this long story from Ikaladeran that became Oduduwa and the return of the lineage back to the appropriate owner. So then the Oba felt there was every cause of justification to thank God. And that's why in Benin we also call it Agwosa. And in that period, it was made clearly to the kingdom that this festival will be done, and it was always done in privacy, restricted to the royal palace alone.
Later, Obaye Sonyi developed it, recalibrated it, did a lot of medicine, and they brought it to Basa, the seven that we have today.
All these are being narrated so that people will not misconstrue the Oduduwa of Yoruba with Oduduwa ceremony in Benin.
Ogyododuwa is one of the most important festivals in Benin Kingdom. It is celebrated at the instance of the Omonobanedo Okuakbolokbolo. It is one of the festivals exclusively held at the discretion of a reigning Oba in the Benin Kingdom to offer prayers to God and the ancestors, to bless and protect the Oba, members of the royal family, chiefs, and entire people of the kingdom. It is also used to purify and sanctify the kingdom so that evil and problems will cease in the Benin Kingdom in particular and Nigeria in general.
A Dodua ceremony was initiated. They came in to come and play, maybe you want to come and play a lot of roles to ensure there's serenity, there's peace, there's fertility, good harvest, sanctification, and purification.
The festival spans through the period of 14 days. The first 7 days of the ceremony, which is usually done indoors of the Oba's inner palace, is strutted from the public. This is followed by the last 7 days that are celebrated in the outer compound of the palace and open to the general public.
The very first 7 days has to do with the inner works. It has to do with the inner purification as well, and sanctification, and other traditional prayers being held for the kingdom. And that's where everything goes on, and everything is packaged together in that festival of the first 7 days. Then the second week has to do with the movements of the spirit now through the course of purification and sanctification. They must come and dance and display the 7 dance steps that is part of the festival.
Ogyododuwa usually features ritual performances done every day of the last 7 days by 7 masquerades or spirits representing 7 important deities of the land. These 7 spirits play the major role in the festival as they are said to be the ones that bring good things and take away the evil things. The actual counting of the last 7 days of the festival begins when the monarch first appears to witness the proceedings by the spirits. Once the Oba mounts his throne at the Uga Eheguda, venue of the festival in the palace, in Weni, the Bini royal drum beats. Ikbemi, the royal drummers, and Eneha, the royal vocalist of the Ogbelaka group, set the tune for the commencement of the celebration.
The Ogbelaka is in charge of the instruments used in this festival, which is called the band and the okuse. And we are like the musicians of the palace. If the monarch is doing any festival, we the Ogbelaka, we are in charge.
The Ogbelaka group's display heralds the arrival of the 7 Ododuwa spirits in a single file from their ancestral homes, known as Uwairoba, a secluded section of the palace. The spirits are accompanied by Osa and Oswa of Benin, 2 mascots who play significant roles during the festival.
We evoke those spirits. I think we see that as significant. We organize those spirits. We bring them out. We put them on the platform where they perform so well. That's the role we did. You saw us when we were directing. If they are not getting it well, we have to make some do it well. Standardization. Maybe you are getting me now. These are things we do and all that. But other ones I would say the high spiritual and esoteric.
There are other things enshrined. The synthesis involved in this very festival, it's very, very exponential in the sense that there are other things also enshrined in it that we also do for fortification, purification of the land, and for the progress of the land as well.
The oldest of the spirits carries the Uhuru, a brand of ancestral power used by the spirits to propitiate the gods. The spirits take turns to pay homage to the Oba in a very peculiar way, followed by Chief Osa and Oswa. Then the spirits, monitored and guided by Osa and Oswa, dance to the Ogbelaka's performance of the 7 Ododuwa songs. It is believed that the 7 dance steps invoke esoteric powers which ward off evil, cleanse and sanctify the land.
The next one is Omoka Mweke, Oisa Paramuda, Odono Mweke, Oisa Paramuda, Omoka Mweke, Oisa Paramuda. Then the third one is Obama Yubo, Burubu, Obama Yubo, Burubu, Obama Yubo, Burubu, Obama Yubo, Burubu. Then the fourth one is Mago, Amwago, Ferrainago, Wabanaruha. So the fifth one is Obaniero, Severe, Obaniero, Severe.
At the end of the 7th song, the spirits, Osa, Oswa, and their families pay homage to the monarchs and return to their ancestral home. Their ascent marks the end of the day's performance. However, the ceremony continues every evening till morning dew of the 5th day of the festival.
This is in consonant with the traditional values of our kingdom, and it's been going on for many years. And it's the Oba that deemed fit when to celebrate the festival. This is also a time for the Oba to give thanksgiving to God Almighty and the ancestors for a successful reign on the throne, and a time he also prays for longevity on the throne.
In the morning of the 5th day, the spirits depart their ancestral home, Owairoba, to pay homage at the altar of Oba Ozolu, before commencing what is known as Usenuwangwe, a visit to some important ancestral shrines within Ogbe and other parts of the kingdom. This cleansing and purification work culminates at the palace of the Oloto of Benin, the sixth in the hierarchy of Uzamas of the kingdom. With the morning purification rituals over, the spirits return to the Oba's palace and withdraw to the ancestral home in preparation for the evening observance of the festival.
The seven spirits represent different deities, and on that 5th day, which is known in Benin tradition as Usenuwangwe, they move round to the various important ancestral shrines within the Ogbe and some other parts of the kingdom, the different dukedoms where you have very important deities related to the ceremony that is being performed.
The evening of the 6th day is the climax of the festival, when large turnout of people from all walks of life, including notable sons and daughters of the kingdom, traditional rulers, chiefs, clergies, irrespective of the religious inclinations, political bigwigs, will be in attendance to witness the ceremony. Having watched the spirits display of the 7 dance steps in the last 5 days of the festival, the monarch joins them on the 6th day to dance to the 6th song known as Aibahu. On the seventh and last day of the festival, each of the spirits dances to each of the 7 songs. At the end of each of the songs, the spirit is accompanied to the Ugaroba, the ancestral home. The display of the 6th spirit is an appreciation of the Oba for dancing to the 6th song with them. While the last dance by the 7th spirit marks the end of the festival.
That is the procedure. That's how it is done. There are 7. They will dance together. But the last day, which is the closing day, they dance separately to indicate person's dexterity, person's spiritual prayer, and whatever that they have. That's how it is done.
With this rich display of culture, purification and sanctification of the land, everyone is optimistic of a cleansed land, which is the sole purpose of the festival.
Expect that there will be peace, tranquility in the palace, the first place of performance, in Bini Kingdom, and in the country as a whole, because what affects one place will affect another. We're expecting peace and fertility. We're expecting fertility for women. We're expecting goodliness for everybody in the kingdom. This is what we're expecting. And it's going to start manifesting from today as it started.
Very symbolic, very glamorous, beautiful, and it's a splendor of attraction. And we thank God that gospel are alive to witness it. You need to understand your traditional custom. These are traditional custom, and we'll continue to uphold it and support it.
It gives opportunity for people to stand behind their Oba, their head, and their support in every way to see that things move forward in the kingdom. So I see the harmony here and the guiding of the people as a sign of unity and loyalty.
This particular one has its own role, has its own function or significance as cleansing and wearing away evils from the kingdom and by extension the state. So it's something very, very interesting and very for which everybody should be concerned about.
With our Oba, we are going to move forward. Bini Kingdom is going to move forward. Nothing is holding it back. A lot of great things are going to happen in the nearest future. So that is why we are rallying around our royal father to make sure that there is peace and tranquility in the land.
As a great custodian of culture, Omonobanedo Uku Akpolokpolo, Oba Ewa II, the Ogidiga, is primed to ensuring the sustenance of the Ododuwa festival for a strong, purified, and virile kingdom.
This is the network service of the NDA.
The signing of Nigeria's HIV and AIDS Anti-Discrimination Act in 2014 was considered a giant stride in the national HIV response and has been translated into different languages and contexts, considering the peculiarities of the subsets of the population. Hello, I am Adesu Alsui, and this is The Last Mile with Naka. The purpose of the Anti-Discrimination Act is to protect the rights and dignity of people living and affected by HIV and AIDS in Nigeria. The Act also applies to all employers of labor and employees, whether in the public or private sector. If you've not heard about the Anti-Discrimination Act, this episode is for you. Stay with us.
Stigma and discrimination are major drivers of HIV and AIDS. One of the main reasons people are reluctant to test for HIV, share their HIV status with others, or access the services and support, thereby increasing the spread and impact of HIV and AIDS. As part of the government's efforts to control the spread of the disease through legislation, the Anti-Discrimination Act was signed into law.
Nigeria joined the rest of the world to put system in place such that people would know more what HIV is, because also underneath stigma and discrimination is the fear of the unknown for most people. So we say fear for us in HIV work is false evidence appearing real. And they say it's a state without law, an environment without law. When there are no laws, there will not be offense. So Nigeria joined the global community to come up with laws to protect persons living with HIV. So we had the HIV Anti-Discrimination Act of 2014 to protect rights of people living with HIV. And the law is actually to talk about individuals' rights of those who are living with HIV, their responsibilities, then the responsibility of society at large, then there are institutional obligations that people must take caution of and know that all of this must be in place. And of course, he also spelled out penalties for those who have violated other people's rights according to the premise that have been set in the law.
Some examples of individual rights. That's rights to employment benefits, rights to freedom from discrimination, right to access health, right to access comprehensive health services, right to be informed of your partner's HIV status, and right to bring civil action against any against persons that or conditions that discriminate against you. Some of the institutional responsibilities include confidentiality of information of your workers, duty to protect the rights of people living with HIV within your organization. It also includes compensation when wrongs are done, then to provision of HIV workplace policy. So some of the acts that amount to discrimination include denying access to employment or continued employment of people living with HIV and AIDS. Others include denying any person treatment or medication, refusal to admit into schools or worship places of people living with HIV or people living with HIV, then denial of rights to be elected or appointed into political parties.
The National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, with partners, have produced simplified versions of the Act in various languages and formats.
As soon as the law was enacted in 2014, we commenced working with our lawyers and all of our development partners to have it translated to level that people will understand. So we have it, the popular version, we have it in English, we have it in 3 Nigerian languages, Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, and Pidgin version. We also have it translated with religious quotations to support why we should not stigmatize or discriminate against people living with HIV. That our groups, NEN and RELA, supported the effort to have the biblical and Quranic quotation to match each of those provisions. We also have it translated into braille form for those with sight impairment. We also ensure when we do all of this, we do not leave anyone behind. We have it translated. We have sign language available when we talk about it, so that even persons with disabilities are able to know their right. So we have it in all of those forms. We have it on our platforms, on NACA websites, and on all available platforms for where you want to get resources for HIV. And if you need them, you contact us. We also give you.
You know, law is like a big technical jargon for a lot of people. If you are not versed in matters of law, it's difficult to understand what this law states. And we felt that the majority of Nigerians who have been affected are people who don't understand the letters of the law. And it's important to, bring this law into their hands. They need to understand the law. They need to understand their own responsibility, their own obligation, the obligation of employers, the obligation of other people. So we partner with NACA, to come out with this simplified version, which we have the broken English version, we have the English version, and it's handy. As you can see, this contains all the law, basically, all the provisions. I can't say it's a record yet, because it hasn't had the desired impact. But I believe that with more work, with more effort by all partners, we'll get there. Because still, as I talk now, there are still instances of stigma and discrimination everywhere, against people who are HIV positive, which is sad, but we just need to keep the work going. We need to keep the awareness going. We need to ensure that the law works. The law is there, of course, but it needs to be made to work.
The agency also engages stakeholders at all levels to sensitize them on their roles with regards to provisions of the Act.
We have over 200 million Nigerians. We cannot go one-on-one. We have to partner with institutions, individuals, groups, mainstreaming HIV and issues around stigma and discrimination, and making them understand the role they can play in supporting the work for us to actually bring the epidemic to control, like we are doing. And in doing that, we engage with everybody. We engage with community members themselves, people living with HIV. There are other populations we call key populations of the HIV program. We engage with them to understand what their roles will be, what their responsibility will be, what their rights will be. We also engage with different development partners, implementing partners, working on HIV, even if it's around support at the facility level, health workers, community workers, social workers, and also ministry departments and agencies, especially those whose work will impact on what we do, like the law enforcement institutions, the Nigerian police services, for them to understand that there is HIV Anti-Discrimination Act and to be able to properly apply it and use it within what they do, and also to make their services available. As we are not implementers, we coordinate all of this, and we also continue to build capacity of all stakeholders to engage with their own populations, to be able to know their rights and be able to access services.
Stigma and discrimination also threatens fundamental rights at work, undermining opportunities for people to obtain decent work and sustainable employment.
Around the issue of HIV, amongst the rights of individuals is confidentiality. You are not supposed to share somebody's HIV status, especially workplace, where people are tested wrongly without their consent, because science has already shown that HIV cannot be transmitted by you living, working or living with somebody living with HIV.
Organizations should not sack people based on their health status. There are some other health issues that are even more serious than HIV, and it's also not right for companies to deny anybody employment because of their HIV status. Because come to think of it, you don't deny people have hepatitis, and you don't sack people because they are diabetic, you don't sack people because they have high blood pressure. All they need to do is to manage the situation and make sure that every other person is safe with it, around them.
We need to ensure that organizations abide, imbibe, and have a workplace HIV policy. Because if you have a workplace policy, it automatically means you cannot discriminate against anyone based on their HIV status. Okay? Government is playing their part. The private sector must play their own part. It's critical. A lot of people are suffering because of the fear. Qualified Nigerians are unable to get the job they want because of their status. It is unfair. It is unfair. It is not right. And we must know that with HIV, it's about 40 years now in the world, we have young people, adolescents, who have known nothing except HIV/AIDS. And they're in thousands, they're in millions, all over the world. What are we saying to them? If we say they don't have a right to work, what are we telling them? They have no future.
Support NACA in the fight to attain HIV epidemic control by 2030. Call 6222 today.
We have a toll-free line, 6222. You call it, they don't charge you for it. When you call in, you speak to our agents and they direct you to the relevant division you need to meet to get help or support.